Start recording, and let's go ahead and get started. All right, 1 second. All right, cool. All right, so tonight we are going to be talking about how you can create Facebook ads that will stand out from the rest of the news feed and actually work, which is, of course, the goal of Facebook advertising, right? So specifically what you're going to be learning is why you should invest in Facebook ads in 2015. I'm going to try to make a really good case for why it is actually really important to invest in Facebook advertising. I know a lot of people are throwing in the towel, but I think by the end of the night, I'm going to have you convinced why there is value there. Then we're going to also talk about the 4-step process that actually makes up the Facebook sales funnel. So if you have been having problems with getting your Facebook ads to convert, it could be that you're missing one of the pieces in the sales funnel. So we're going to walk through step by step the process for getting your ads to convert. I'm also going to tell you the #1 ad that you need to start running today, like tonight. It's really easy to set up, but you can also think of it as the low-hanging fruit and the people that you need to be targeting the most. And we're also going to talk about some easy strategies for creating Facebook ads that will stand out in the news feed and actually catch someone's eye, which is, kind of essential if you're hoping that your Facebook ads will convert, right? So first of all, you may be wondering, who is this girl? What does she know? Why does she, think she can actually help me to get my Facebook ads to convert? Well, originally I started out as a copywriter. So I got out of grad school and started doing copywriting, but social media kept popping up. Now, this was back in 2007, and at that time, Facebook hadn't been around for very long at all. I think the news feed was a year old at that point. Twitter I don't think it even existed at the time. But I was starting to do some contracting with different companies. I was working for an attorney, and this was back in the day where Facebook tabs were a thing. I don't know if you remember that, where Facebook tabs were popular, and they had the iframe, and everyone had custom tabs on their pages, and that was really popular. But I ended up getting eventually hired to work for about 4 years for an e-commerce company, and that's when I really started digging into social media marketing, because I felt like even though I had been dabbling in it for a long time, I really hadn't gotten the true grasp around it, because no one really knew what to do with it at that point. It was so new. So I really started doing a lot of research and studying and reading and training with the top people in the business, like Kim Garst or John Loomer and Amy Porterfield. I really wanted to learn all I could about this. And I also, because I was working for this e-commerce company, I was actually had an ad budget. So I was actually getting, it's easy to think, well, I want to take the time to really dig in and experiment, but a lot of us don't have the budget to do that, whereas here I was working for this big e-commerce company. I actually had some advertising budget to work with, which was pretty cool, and it gave me a lot of experience in Facebook advertising. Now, in the meantime, life happened, and I eventually got married to the military. So I realized over time I needed something that could move with me, some sort of job that I could do, because I couldn't have this stable, steady career in the 9-to-5 type job. We were going to be moving too often to make that possible. And by that time, I had a lot of real-world experience, and I realized it was time to start sharing everything I had learned in Facebook marketing and Facebook advertising with the industry that I'm most passionate about, which is health and fitness. I love the health and fitness industry. It's where I met my spouse. It's what I'm most passionate about. And I saw that there's a really big disconnect and a lot of growing frustration in that industry, because people didn't really understand how to get their ads to convert. They didn't understand how to make social media marketing work for them. Now, unfortunately, reaching people online is critical, and I don't care if your business is local or if it's online. it's really essential that you have a strong digital presence, really important. And I'll give you a perfect example of why this is. Just last weekend, just a few days ago, I had someone down at my home visiting from Maryland, and he told me that he was looking around. He's in the health and fitness industry. He was looking around at a bunch of different gyms, deciding where he wanted to train and possibly work at down the road. So he said he was looking at all these different gyms. I mentioned one in particular that has a really good reputation locally, and he said he actually bypassed that gym because their website sucked and their social media presence sucked. And he's like, I just feel like, you know, a gym's, you know, any kind of fitness business, any kind of business for that matter, its online presence is an extension of the business itself. So, you know, what's the first place you do? What's the first thing you do when you think, well, I want to go check that gym out, or I want to go check out this business? The first thing you do is you Google them, right? So reaching people digitally is critical. And as you can see here, e-commerce sales are continuing to grow at a rapid rate, and they will continue to grow. So it's very, very important that you be online and have a strong presence online. Now, it was only a few months back that Salesforce put together their State of the Marketing report for 2015. And during that time, they found that 70% of the 5,000 marketers they polled plan to invest more of their marketing dollars in Facebook this year. And that's, you know, that's man hours, that's advertising budget. And they also found that 84% plan to increase or maintain their total ad spend. Now, you've probably heard a lot of people plan on say I'm just going to forget about Facebook altogether. There was a very, you know, large company out there not long ago that made a lot of headlines by saying, you know what, we're going to delete our Facebook page altogether. We don't need it. But you know what? It's a lot of people are saying, forget that. I'm going to buckle down in 2015 because there are a lot of reasons to be on Facebook. Now, one of the biggest struggles Facebook had, obviously, that people have with Facebook is getting in the newsfeed. Now, the newsfeed has been around since 2006. Also, it's important that you realize that only 6% of your traffic happens on your page directly. So that means everything else happens in the newsfeed. And there's a lot of people who think, well, I want to try to game the newsfeed. I want to try to figure out what Facebook is going to put through and what they're not going to put through. And we do have some strategies around that. You know, we know that if we put out videos, those are going to get seen a little more. We know if we put out images, those are going to get seen a little more because they catch people's eye. Because people have a habit of scrolling rapidly through until something catches their eye. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to put out content that's going to do that. But first, Facebook has to even put that content in the newsfeed in the first place. And there are 100,000 plus different factors that make up their algorithm. So it's super complex, and no one really knows how it works. So for this reason, it's really important that you figure out a way to get in the newsfeed. And why should you get in the newsfeed? Well, there are 1.35 billion with B monthly active users on Facebook. And on top of that, Facebook ads are the most targeted available. You know, if you try to do if you create a Google AdWords account and you're doing Google Ads, it will let you pick different keywords, or that, you know, even long tail keywords. If someone's typing for, you know, best supplements for 2015 or best post-workout supplements for 2015, even though some of those long tail keywords, you're just doing the targeting based on keywords. You're just buying those keywords. You can't say, well, I want to show it to only women who are in this age bracket. I only want to show my search result to those people. But Facebook is pretty amazing. It can do that. You can say, well, I only want to show my ad to trendy moms in the state of Kentucky who make over $50,000 a year and have at least 2 kids. Pretty cool, huh? Facebook can do that. That means you're going to be spending less money you're going to have less money wasted on Facebook ads, and you're going to be highly, highly targeted, and make sure that everything you put into your Facebook advertising is well spent. So as you can see here, we talked about it briefly. There's been a significantly decline in organic reach. Facebook has been moving. They at one point it was 1 out of 16, which really wasn't that bad, and now we're 1 out of 50 if you're lucky. So, however, again, it goes back to that. Is it worth it to pay to get in front of 1.35 billion people when you can reach your exact ideal client if you know who they are? Heck yeah. It is, in my opinion, it is. Yes, you will have to pay maybe to be completely successful on Facebook. You may have to pay to play. But I really do believe that because advertising on Facebook is so incredibly targeted, and you can target down to, I want to get in a 5-mile radius of Tampa, or I want to be in this specific zip code, and I just want to reach people in this zip code who make over a certain dollar amount per year. You can do that on Facebook with Facebook advertising. Now, everyone's frustrated on Facebook. So if you're feeling frustrated, you're not alone. Most people, like I said, they don't have the time or the budget to do extensive testing to find out what works and what doesn't work. So, you need to figure out a way to find out what actually works. And I pulled this conversation a few days ago. It just happened actually from one of my free Facebook groups. And Ellen wrote, she's getting frustrated with the lack of engagement on social media in her blog. And she told me, I've done Facebook ads, I got a few views, but no subscribers, comments, or activity. And then we went on, the conversation continued on from there. But she's not getting results with her Facebook ads. Very few views, no subscribers to her email list, no comments, and no engagement. So she needs, and everyone else needs, to figure out what really works without having to spend copious amounts of ad dollars testing and testing and testing and figuring it out. You've got to have a plan in place before you get started. Yes, you're probably going to have to do some testing and some tweaking, but you need the puzzle figured out. You need those pieces in place in order to know that your Facebook ads are going to work when you do get those things figured out. So the question is, how do you get your Facebook ads to actually convert? And heck, what does it mean to convert anyway? What does that word even mean? What does it mean for you? It could mean something different for you. So here is a really general overview of the Facebook sales funnel. Now you see at the very top that those 1.35 billion Facebook users. That's everyone out there. Obviously not all of them are your ideal market. You want to narrow that down and have from there down, it'll be your content viewers that move into your sales funnel. You want to try to get more people into who are viewing your content, and you want those to be the right people. You don't want to worry about every, Tom, Dick, and Harry who's on Facebook. You want to show your content to the right people. And so those top two parts of this funnel are the investment part, because that's going to be where you're spending most of your dollars. Getting people into your sales funnel, getting them viewing your content, and getting them engaged with you. So building that engaged community is probably going to take a little money, but it's worth it, because you'll find out as we go through this, I'll get into it more in a minute, that you'll actually spend less on those people when it comes time to moving them through to get them to take action and to turn them into paying customers. So that's kind of the money part. That's the part where your investment that you made early on starts to pay off, because at that point you've really started to develop those relationships. And also, keep in mind, the more people you get into that funnel at the very top, the more will pay off in the end, because that means more paying customers at the end of that sales funnel. So I couldn't resist putting this slide in because it made me laugh. But this is what an ad looks like with no sales funnel. It looks like a whole lot of nothing. It looks like a dry desert. There is nothing there because those leads are not going to go anywhere. Facebook owns your list. You do not own your list. You could have a huge, huge following on Facebook, but if you haven't ever figured out a way to create a sales funnel with Facebook, those people aren't going anywhere. And you are never going to make money from them, because it's nearly impossible to do direct sales on Facebook. It just doesn't work. You have to do the sales in your email list and on your website. So you've got to move those people over to your email list. and you've got to figure out a way to do something with those new likes, to move those likes to your email list. But if you've got no plan in place for doing that, this is what you're looking like. So there is a well, I shouldn't say very, very simple, but a relatively simple 4-step sales funnel that I believe in that will work really well for converting your ads. So step 1 is building an audience. Now, this is where you're going to be, getting people moved over from your website to your Facebook page. This is building that audience on Facebook, so you can have that active, engaged audience that is actually seeing your content, hopefully. So how do you build your audience on Facebook? Well, one of the easiest ways is to have a plugin on your website. We've probably seen it, that like box that we have on our homepage, or that's in the sidebar on our website, and that's where people can go over easily and like your Facebook page and engage with you there. Now, what if they're not landing on your website? Well, that's a whole different question altogether. Another thing you can do, you can share your Facebook content to Twitter. You can actually, when you open up an image or a post, actually, no, I think it is just an image. If you click on one of your images in Facebook, you'll see you actually can pull the link from that page that pops up. And you can go ahead and put that on Twitter and encourage people to go back to your Facebook page and engage with you there. So that's another idea. You can share your Facebook content to Twitter. You can also consistently post phenomenal, beautiful, amazing, epic content and hope people actually see it. Because you never know. You may post one thing that just really resonates with people. It happened to me once. I think I had one thing that got several 100,000 views, it's been a few years, but it did happen to me once, and it just took off and it exploded. And so it can happen, and that can really grow your page exponentially if that does happen. But it's really hard. It's not like an easy thing to do. Like I said, it happened to me years ago. But you do want to be posting great content consistently, but people may or may not see it because you have very little control over what Facebook chooses to put out into the newsfeed unless you're paying for it. You can also allow your page to be suggested, and I'll explain that in just a second. And then finally, you can create a Facebook like campaign. This is probably the easiest one, at least the easiest for growing your audience on Facebook. So I mentioned that you can have Facebook suggest your pages, and you've probably seen this if you're scrolling through your phone or just you're on your computer and on the news feed, and you see it has this little bar. Maybe you're scrolling partway down on your laptop, and it has this bar across the screen with little images, and it'll say, Amy Porterfield, and allow you to like them right there, and it'll have one after the next, and it'll suggest a whole bunch right at once. Now, some people say, well, I don't want to do that because, they're just going to stick me in with all of my competitors, and then, they can like my page, but they're going to like my competitor's page, and I don't want to be put up alongside my competitors. Well, that's something you might want to consider. However, the problem with that is that your competitors are still going to be there, and would you rather not be there with your competitors, or would you rather be right there right among them? At least you're getting those additional likes. So I would actually really encourage you to go on and activate this and set this to yes. And you do this by going to the settings on your page. If you go to your Facebook page at the top, you'll see a settings in the tab. I think it's right next to insights. You'll see settings, and then when you get to the settings, it defaults to the general tab, and you'll scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see this similar page suggestions. And you can say, it says, choose whether a page is recommended to others. You can hit edit. And then you'll see include Sheena White when recommending other page, or well, I won't say Sheena White obviously, but you'll see include my page when recommending similar pages, and you'll just check that for yes. Now, why build a Facebook page? Why bother? Why go to all that work? I did send you a document. If you've registered for this, you did receive my handout on what the value is in having a Facebook page, but one major reason is that fans convert, and they convert at a better cost than any other type of audience. Your fans just convert really well. I shouldn't say any other. There are a few exceptions to that, but fans convert well. Now, why do they convert? Well, you can see here, the dollars say it all. So if you take someone from a fan to a lead, and by a lead I mean an email subscriber. So from a fan to an email subscriber, you're probably going to pay anywhere from 80 cents to $5. Now from a non-fan to a lead, to a subscriber, you could pay anywhere from $5 to $8 on average. To get them to your email list. And then from a lead to a customer, typically it's anywhere from $10 to $30. But the point still stands. The difference between taking someone from a fan to a lead to a non-fan to a lead is huge. Those differences in numbers are huge. So this is why you really want to invest some money in building up your Facebook audience. Getting those likes are actually very inexpensive. And the difference here could be astronomical. If you're talking about, 100 or 200 new leads, the difference could be huge to your business. So the first step in the sales funnel, of course, is to build your audience. The second step is to build trust and authority. And it's because, as we've all heard, people buy from those they like, know, and trust, or they know, like, and trust, however you want to say it. So how do you build trust? Well, you can do this a number of different ways, and I recommend trying as many of these as you can. The first thing you want to do is you want to create great content. Number one, create great content at all times. Don't just put out content for content's sake and throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Put out great content every time. Also put out great blog content. Post your blog content, because that blog content will help you establish yourself as an authority figure in your niche, and that's really important. So at this point, I would really recommend promoting your blog content. Maybe it's just one blog you promote a week, and who knows, you may only write one blog a week, and you want to promote that. And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to promote it for an ungodly amount. You could promote it for $5. See what happens. Promote it for a very low dollar amount per day. Promote it for $5 a day and see what happens. See if you get a bunch of traffic back to your website. You never know. It could actually make a really big impact on your email list. Use Facebook also. Give tips on Facebook. Share personal information about your life. Occasionally I share stuff that's going on with me and my travels and my experience as a military spouse and those struggles. So share personal stuff. Don't be afraid of sharing personal stuff, because it helps people feel like they know you better. And once they know you, they have more of a likelihood to trust you at that point. Use Facebook to build relationships with your audience, because that is what will turn your audience into paying customers in the end. Step 3, you want to collect emails. Now, it seems easier said than done, right? It doesn't have to be that difficult. The first thing you need to do is you need to offer something of value in exchange for an email address. Now, obviously, you want to collect emails. The key word in that sentence is value. You need to offer something that your audience really wants, not just something you think they want, something they think they want, something they know they want, something they've been dying for. Try targeting your fans and your website visitors first. And I say that because these are going to be the people who cost less. If you're putting your content out and trying to collect emails from people who have never heard of you, why would they give you their email? Because they have never heard from you. You're going to have to work harder and pay more to get those people to convert. Because, think of your own behavior. How often do you turn your email address over to people you've never heard of? Versus, unless maybe they have a really great offer that really resonates with you, chances are you don't do it very often. So target your fans and your website visitors first. And also direct your Facebook users to a landing page like Lead Pages, or a Facebook tab like Heyo can create Facebook tabs really easily. So make sure you're sending them to a really great landing page, and it could be a landing page on your Facebook page or on your website. And the final step seems really easy, doesn't it? Sell. Now, again, I mentioned it earlier, don't sell on Facebook. Make sure that you're using your email to sell and your website to sell, because selling on Facebook doesn't work. Have you ever really, honestly, ever bought anything on Facebook? I'm going to guess that you probably haven't. And if you have, I could be wrong, but if you have, you're probably an anomaly. I can't speak. But make sure you're using your email to sell, and you'll want to have your email autoresponders set up, and you'll want to have all those sequences in place before you actually begin the Facebook process. But you do want to make sure you're selling via email or your website. Now, selling requires trust. As I said, part of the process, part of that sales funnel, part of that 4-step process is creating or is establishing trust. And it's because, like I said, people are more likely to buy from someone that they like, know, and trust. So make sure that you're focusing on those who know you, because again, why would someone who's never heard of you buy from you? So focus on your email list, focus on your web traffic, focus on your fans. And this is exactly why you need to be investing in a highly relevant and an engaged fan base. And relevant is really the key word I really want to emphasize there, because you want to be building an audience on your Facebook page of people who want to do business with you, of people who are excited about your products and excited about your services and are excited about what you have to offer. If you are targeting people who don't know you, you're just going to have to expect to pay more, quite honestly, because they're not as familiar with you. You're going to have to pay more to convert those leads to actual sales. And it's a sad truth, but it's just the reality of Facebook marketing. So instead, I encourage you to invest in building your audience and building in a relevant, engaged audience of your ideal customers. Now, you may have to figure out, who is my exact ideal customer? Your exact ideal customer can't be everyone, Who is your audience? Well, everyone. Anyone can do business with me. Well, no, I need you to sit down and think about an exact profile. Give this person a name if you have to. How much money do they make? How much, where do they live? Are they everywhere? Do they live in just one place? What are they interested in? Do they have a family? Are they married? Are they single? What do their lives look like? Really dig in, because when you figure that out, when you start to create these profiles, you're going to be far more successful with your Facebook ads, because you're going to know who in the world you're targeting, and you're going to know what the copy should say and what that ad should look like. So, as I said, audience building, your audience building will really take off with your Facebook-like ads, because that will allow you to really hone in on creating that exact that relevant, engaged audience that you can then further engage with and sell to. So I mentioned at the beginning that there was going to be an audience that you had to start targeting today, like tonight. So that's because these Facebook users are the low-hanging fruit. Now, who are they? Well, they're your website custom audiences. Now, website custom audiences, I could do, and I did actually do an entire course on website custom audiences. And basically, these are going to be the people who have visited your website. These are going to be the people who have subscribed to your email list. You need to start targeting your website custom audiences immediately, because these are going to be the people, you never know if, it's possible that these people have visited your website, but they aren't necessarily fans yet. So you really want to start targeting these people immediately. You can also show these people your blog content. You can look and see what pages they've landed on, and you can say, well, they landed on these specific pages, therefore I want to show them more content that I'm creating on those topics to keep them coming back to my website. So you can show them your content. You can start targeting and advertising and showing them your content to keep them coming back to your site for more great information, and really use that to establish yourself as an authority figure in your niche. You can also reach using website custom audiences, you can reach a highly relevant group who haven't subscribed. Maybe they visited your website, on a few occasions, or maybe even just once a month ago. But so they've showed interest in your content, but maybe they just, they finished the article and they left and they never actually took the time to subscribe. So you can really just target people who have visited your website but never actually subscribed, and encourage them to re-engage with you, to get them to like your Facebook page, get them to subscribe to your email content. There's so much stuff you can do with website custom audiences, but because these are people who have already engaged with you and have already visited your site and in one way or another have expressed interest in you, not just, a general interest that they have or based on their demographics, they've expressed interest in you and what you have to offer by visiting your site. So because of that, you already know they're a relevant, highly targeted group, and you want to start targeting them immediately. So I mentioned another thing I was going to do tonight is we're going to talk about how you can create ads that stand out. Well, how do you do this? The first thing you're going to do is you're going to avoid the 2 stock photo-ish images. Now, I don't know if photo-ish is a word. It probably is not. But I think you probably have a pretty good idea of what I'm talking about. We've all seen them out there. They're very generic. Maybe they're shadows of people or people who are at a desk, and we've all seen them, I guarantee it. I love lead pages, but they're, I think, the worst culprits of the 2 stock photo-ish images. You'll have to keep an eye out in the newsfeed because for the lead pages ads, because as much as I love them, they are probably the worst culprits. Also, use highly contrasting photos. So think about what catches your own eye in the newsfeed as you're scrolling through. Is it the, pretty ads, but they just kind of blend in with everything else? Or is it the one that has someone, with their face and everything else cut out around them with a white background with yellow border all the way around? And maybe the text is in a yellow bubble. So white and yellow contrasting, very highly contrasting colors are going to catch people's eye a little more. Also, if your image does most of the talking, your text doesn't have to. So by this I mean, like if you see an ad for the Savage Race and the image itself says San Jose, June 5th through 6th. Well, I know, okay, I can see immediately. It's a girl running. I can see that the page is a Savage Race, and it tells me the location, San Jose, and the dates in June. Well, what more do I need to know? I know everything I need to know from that information right there. So unless I want to sign up, I don't really have to do a lot else. And the text above the image doesn't really have to do a lot of talking because I already know all the information I need to know. Also, keep things casual, conversational, friendly, and inviting, and even personal. One of the best ads I've ever seen just simply said, "Hey, it's Brian, and I'm really excited about some stuff I learned recently. I took this I had this number of fans, and I took them and I earned $11.73 per fan and made this much in profit." That saying, hey, my name is this, I've learned this recently, and I'm really excited, and I'd really love to share that with you. That really casual conversational tone resonates with people a lot. Now, obviously, the first thing you have to do is you have to get people noticing the ad, so you want to have great images. Smiling women surprisingly seem to do really well, but I really think the biggest thing is the highly contrasting colors. I think that's really key. Some colors that stand out, having great images, and then from there having some really great conversational, friendly, even personal copy, some text that really resonates with people. So some other tips for your ads. Include a hook. So you could say, you can include an invitation, I'd like to invite you to something, a question, maybe an unexpected statement, something that's really going to grab their attention. Also, include a call to action. Make sure that you're telling people what you want them to do. Click the link from below for more. Take action, do this, do that. Tell them what you want them to do. Don't expect them to just do it. Make sure that you do include that call to action. Also, include the most important information before it gets cut off. So there's going to be a point where Facebook's not going to allow you to put any more text in without actually having to click more. So make sure that you include the most important information before it gets cut off and they have to click more. And then finally, create urgency. And by this I mean include a little something like seats are limited, or if it's a webinar, limited seats available, or only a few spots left, or registration closing today. Something. Even if you can't do it initially, try to do it at some point as the deadline comes up, or try to figure out some way to create urgency, because I guarantee that the second you do that, you'll see a spike in the number of people who are clicking. Because before, well, I've seen it before, I'll see it again in the news feed, or I don't really feel any great urgency. But if you can create urgency and even exclusivity, well, there's only a few spots available. I want to get in on that, because if I miss out, I could miss out on something great, So create urgency and exclusivity if you can figure out a way to do it. So today we talked about why you should invest in Facebook ads in 2015. We talked about the 4 steps that make up this Facebook sales funnel, the #1 ad you need to start running today, and then we talked about some easy strategies for creating Facebook ads that are going to stand out in the newsfeed. So if you like what you saw today, I'd like to invite you to take a look at my Facebook advertising A to Z. And I'm really excited about this new training because I made it as comprehensive as possible, and yet I tried not to get too much in the weeds, because I feel like, with a lot of the Facebook ads trainings out there, it can be really easy to get too complex, and I didn't want to do that. I wanted to avoid that altogether. So the first video talks about, it's a video training. So the series of videos, the first one talks about how you create your own sales funnel, and it'll break down each piece of the sales funnel that we talked about tonight, but in greater detail. It'll also detail the tools that you need, because as I said in that one slide with the desert, if you don't have the tools in place to make this work, it's not going to be effective. You do need to have, before you even start running that Facebook ad, you need to have each of these things in place. And then it also explains the sales funnel from beginning to end, how it works in detail. The second video talks about how you can create a free offer. I mentioned earlier that it's really important to offer something of value, but it's really hard to know what should that be. So we're going to talk about what you should be offering for free, what some different types of free offers are, and what's best for you. We're going to talk about the best place to start if you're brand new, and then we're going to talk about some different tools. I'm going to give you a whole bunch of ideas of tools that you can use to get started with your free offer. We're also going to talk about autoresponders. I mentioned earlier you need to have emails in place. Excuse me. You need to have emails in place to make this work effectively. And we're going to talk about what those look like. What are the different email sequences you can use? What are some copywriting strategies so you can write great sales letters? Because let me tell you, those email autoresponders can make or break your sales funnel. True story. The next video talks about helps you create powerful Facebook ads that really work. So I'm going to walk you through step by step how to set up your Facebook ads. And we're going to talk about the design and the copy strategies, and then how you can target based on interest, and how you can set up your custom audiences, how you can set up your email custom audiences and all your website custom audiences, as well as a few other custom audiences that you can actually create using those website custom audiences. And then there's a few bonus videos about using Power Editor. I was really on the fence about including Power Editor in this training because I didn't want to get too complex, and Power Editor is more of an advanced technique, But however, I do think the unpublished page posts are really valuable, and they're actually not very complicated to set up. So Power Editor, I explain how to set up unpublished page posts, and then I talk about using Facebook Insights. And actually, I did include in this video a brief look at the Facebook ad analytics to help you understand if you're being successful with your marketing, your Facebook marketing, as well as, I'm talking about the organic stuff, the content you're posting every day, as well as your Facebook advertising. So this training is basically for anyone who is frustrated with having the lack of success they may be having with their Facebook ads, for anyone who needs help creating a successful sales funnel. I'm talking about from the ads to the autoresponders. And it's also for anyone who needs help targeting. Maybe you're having trouble, maybe you feel like you're not targeting the right people. And if you're not, honestly, if you're doing ads and you're not having any success whatsoever, I'm talking about you're not getting any engagement, you're not getting hardly any views, you're probably not targeting the right people, or maybe just the offer isn't right. So you would need to take a second look at that. But so this is for anyone who needs help with those things. Who is this training not for? Well, it is not for anyone who is an advanced Facebook marketer. This is a very basic training, but honestly, it's all you need to be successful with Facebook advertising. But it doesn't get down too much in the weeds, which again was my goal. Now, for the next 5 days, I'm not going to be offering at half price, but I am going to be offering you the opportunity to bring a friend for free. So basically, you could go out and find a friend to go in on it with you for the next 5 days. So you have until Monday at midnight Eastern time to find a friend and bring a friend into the training for free. And I will let you do that, and the two of you can go in on it together. So this training is actually now open for enrollment, and you can sign up now for just $127. And like I said, I'm really excited about this new training. I think a lot of people are going to find immense value in it, and I think you're going to be really happy with the results you get at the end. So now, if you guys have any questions, I am more than happy to take any that you might have. If you guys have any questions. And this could be questions about the training or anything we've covered tonight. And if not, if I don't see any questions, then I hope you guys found this really helpful. And I'd love to get any feedback you might have. Please, feel free to shoot me an email. If you do think of any questions you have down the road, feel free to email me at sheena@sheenawhite.com. And if that's all, then I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciated the time you spent with me tonight. And I hope you have a great evening.